You're now listening to the Palmetto Dugout Show, hosted by State Director Sammy Esposito, Associate Scouts Drew Stewart and Sean Smith, that discuss all things related to amateur baseball in South Carolina. Here are your hosts.
Welcome in to episode 71 of the Palmetto Dugout Show. We got Coach Espo, and we got a new layout. Welcome to the new year and the new podcast.
Coach, I was jamming over to our intro. We don't hear it in the past. We haven't heard it when we're starting to record. So had a little catchy tune there. So I was kind of jamming out over here, waiting to get cranked up, fired up to talk about a lot of good stuff we got coming up here.
Coach has purchased a new house recently with the piano in his background. New year, new Espo.
New year, new me. I've been working on the not only jamming to our show, but also working on a little Beethoven in the back.
I'm glad you got your house settled, as mine is a mess. But he's not even giving hidden lessons anymore. He's doing strictly piano lessons.
Hey, get more money for him. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is why we're here. Coach is already like the new setup. So kind of jumping in to episode 71 here, and while we're here, big event this weekend, Coach. January 20th, Clemson, All-State North.
Huge event popping off over here. Obviously, not only here in the beautiful, great state of South Carolina, but across the country, we've been dealing with quite some cold temperatures that are out there. But, that's one of the things when we book these venues for our events, right, we're always trying to look for things to, if weather happens, right, baseball, outdoor sport, you never know what's going to happen. And, right, we booked this and started this going back in, heck, I think we booked the facility back in October and obviously started pumping the stuff for November. No telling what the temperature is ever going to be. Last year, this same point in time, I know we're in a different area, but it was, in the 60s. So you never know what's going to come on. But obviously, preseason stayed all north up at Clemson. Tremendous facilities, right? Obviously, beautiful baseball stadium, field, but obviously the indoor cages, they got the turf field on the back, and they're pretty much opening the doors and giving us access to everything over there. The only thing that we're not getting access to, and we requested, is Dabo is not giving us their indoor football facility. So we're a little upset about that, but we're going to make do. I know their indoor cages have everything we need to take care of it. And we're going to, the one thing, looking at it, we sent out an email today kind of giving the players, hey, an option if they're uncomfortable with the weather to switch to Charleston the following weekend, to where the extended forecast right now looks like it's in the 70s, going in that. But we're going to look out for the best interest of the kids, of the players, and put them in the situation where they can not only stay healthy and look out for their health, but also be able to put up their best numbers, right? This is a big event, not only for us, but also a big event for the players leading into their high school season, to be able to get some big time numbers, to where, college coaches can get out there and see those numbers and see their videos and see what they did, and get get it on their board so they can come out and watch them this spring. So we want to make sure we get those guys into the best setting possible. And you know what? I get it. Everybody wants to go try to hit some home runs on Doug Kingsmore Stadium. And I know them dimensions ain't too far, but want to be able to hit a few home runs out of the ballpark out there. But we also want to make sure they're safe, they're healthy, and they put up big time numbers. And TrackMan, it don't matter if you're in a cage or out in the field. TrackMan is TrackMan. It's going to tell you exactly where you're at.
Coach, I was hoping we could hit people on the field, and I'd go stand out in the Cajun Cafe. Fire the grills up.
In the past, we've always let you run a 60, the Rocket run a 60. We might fire up the BP machine and see what the Rocket can do at 10 a.m. when we're setting up, 9 a.m. when it's 15 degrees, and see where you're at.
Pellets.
Yeah, because it can be frozen. Ice pellets.
Frozen pellets. Nonetheless, obviously a big event. And I know we talked about it before we got on here. Some big guys that are committed coming as well.
Coach, it's for us outside of our pro day, right? Our pro case. This is the biggest event we've had with the most committed players. We had a big time one, kind of had to back out this morning, had some stuff go on, but Carson Bowman, big time, top ranked player in the 26 class committed to Wake Forest. Coming back. We got Landon Fowler, who's a former future gamer, one of the top arms in the 25 class, committed to Clemson coming in. Jack Stepp, a former junior future gamer, committed to Clemson, one of the top players in the 26 class. Bennett Edwards, 2025, committed to Georgia Southern, was a former border battle participant that's coming back to a big time event. You got Lee Turnipseed, who was here in the state, left the state, coming back to the state. And when he came back, he had committed to Charleston Southern, and he's coming out. States Far, former junior future gamer, coming back and from up there in Spartanburg, committed to South Carolina. Bo Lowrance committed to Duke. Big, strong left-handed hitter. 2026. This is going to be his first time come to an event, so we're fired up to see him. And then Landon still out of Greenwood at 25, committed to Louisiana Monroe. So it's those are just obviously the committed kids. And I know if we look back and call it a year from now, a ton of these kids that are going to be here, because we know a lot of superstars that are going to be here are going to have a bunch of commits next to their name. So we're fired up to be able to see not only those committed guys, but the uncommitted guys and watch some of the better players in the state. And the one thing I said it a lot with the former future and junior futures, but we got former junior future game guys littered across these rosters that are coming, and then former guys that have been to events in the past, and that's always right. It's not just us. I think that's a lot of things, right? If you run anything, you want repeat guys coming back to it, and that kind of makes us proud a little bit of we think we do a pretty good job when you're getting all these guys that coming back that were at past events and they've enjoyed themselves and want to come back out to it.
Yeah, and it's kind of the first step in that idea of that junior future and future games coming up this summer.
100%. It kind of gives right. This is, and I'll kind of maybe jump ahead of myself a little bit with that, but right, this is the first, and I hate saying qualifier, but kind of the first qualifier to get your names out there, right? And we've added a new one, especially for that 27 class out there, that East Coast Super Sophomore Games with us all the way up into New England. That's going to be heading to, at Wake Forest and High Point University. But these events like this, these are the first kind of stepping stone for those guys. And, for us last year, right? I don't want to jump back too many years, but last year we had guys that had come to this event that got invites to the junior futures. They got invites to the future games. They got invites to the border battle. They got invites to top prospects. And, now there's going to be a new one, the invite to the Super Sophomore Showcase that games that's going to go out there. So these are big events for us. And, it's not one of those where you got to come to every event we hold throughout the year, but you come to a big one like this and you come to, you get you a stepping stone in another one and get those big invites to national ones, which, obviously are the, get a bunch of pub, not only, here, but across, but for us, all of our events, we treat them all the exact same way with that being so big for us. So we're fired up to get this thing going. I know we'll have to put on a few more jackets and hear a few complaints out of a few of our staff workers out there. But we'll have a good time. And, we're doing a few more things this year. We've been talking about it, alluding into it, going into it, but we're doing a few more things, on the back end. We're emailing every college in the state of South Carolina of all the stuff, all the rosters, all the attendance, all the stats, all those things. We're going to send that out. Few more things in event, right? Kind of the normal things we're always doing. Hitters are always getting the track man. They're getting the blast data, right? In the past, we've always getting the 10, 30, and 60 split with the Swift timing gates. The jump mat is back, right? We had a few hangups, not just us in South Carolina, but across the country. We had a few hangups. That's back. We're getting the vertical testing jumps. But we're also adding in grip strength this year, right? That plays a big part, right? Especially baseball goes back forever, right? It's always been forearm strength, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, doing grip strength. We're doing a true height and weight measure that go in there. So, when a coach does look at a player stat, he can kind of get a good feel that's going in there. So we're doing a few more things athletically testing to get a good base of where a player is, not as much a ceiling, but a good base of where they are and where they can get to in the future. So we're doing a few more things, so we're fired up and ready to get this thing rolling. And the sun's going to be out, which is a positive. I know 38 degrees is never the greatest thing in the world, but at least when you got the sun out there popping, we'll be able to get great numbers and great stats. And kind of go back and touch on that. I remember this was, heck, I guess it's 3 years ago now. 3 years ago, we ran a showcase. It was an ID in Charleston, and it was down at Shipyard. It was about 20 degrees.
It felt
and
like
windy.
10.
And we were able to use their beautiful indoors, but we had to go outside and run the 60 and do some defensive stuff. And it's funny, we go back and look at that roster, right? And this has not we did this, but South Carolina commit, Southern Miss commit. There's a couple players in college that are there right now. Like you look back, College of Charleston commits. You look back, you go, this is just part of the process. We're not going to get a guy out there and get him hurt and get him in a bad situation. We're going to put them in the best situation they can to put up big time numbers so these schools can see all that stuff.
Yeah, and you got some changes on the back end too as well, like after the event, right, Coach?
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, we're doing our normal deal, right? Monday and Tuesday, maybe a little bit of Sunday, depending on how if I'm thawed out or not, right? Like the process of inputting all this stuff, and we start. I say Wednesday. We always base it off if we get all the numbers in and there's no hangups. When you deal with some technology, you never know what's going to happen. But there's no hangups. We'll get all the stories starting on Wednesday. But as soon as all that stuff's in and ready to roll, we're getting those things out to colleges and letting them see those numbers as fast as they can, right? Instead of having to say, hey, Coach so-and-so at school so-and-so, my stuff's on my profile, or here it is. We're kind of jumping the gun and we're sending that thing out to those schools so they can see it right away. Schools can't get out. Division I's can't get out. I'm not sure in the Division II rule, but those guys can't get out until, here a little bit later. So now we're kind of putting it in front of them and giving them the access and the ability right away to be able to take a look at it. And those guys their recruiting's going on, 24/7, 365, whether they go out or not. They're going to be able to use this information to get some stuff and get it going. And heck, every year, right, we run one of these. Our phones are blowing up during the event, after the event. Hey, so-and-so really did this. So-and-so really did that. How did so-and-so look? So it's a big time thing, and we're trying to jump ahead of it a little bit and getting all that information out to those colleges as quick as we can.
A lot of changes for Coach for one of our biggest events of the year in the state of South Carolina. And I'm so looking forward to Preseason. The day after my birthday, like it's gonna be awesome. Like I feel blessed.
It's a giant birthday party for none other than the Richburg Rocket, Drew Stewart.
I might need to
for all you guys that don't know.
Times.
I don't know if you need to run the 60 at that point in time. He gonna be partying like it's 1999 and rolling out there. So for all you guys out there, if you want to throw a shout out in there and wish Coach Stewie over here a happy birthday. He'll be turning how old are you?
26.
26 years old. Young buck coming in hot. He's going to find out he ain't 21 no more real fast.
Just don't tell me happy birthday at 10 a.m. check-in on Saturday morning. Might not be in the best of moods, but hey, when it comes 10:01, I'm going to be bells and whistles on, ready to roll.
Coach, you better be bells and whistles at 9 a.m. when we're starting setup.
I'm not going to like Espo at 9 a.m. because I'm going to be moving stuff. That's what we got Sean for. None other than the Sean Smith is coming back to town.
Yeah, I was about to bring that. I wanted to bring that up earlier, and I forgot. The intros is fantastic. We got to boot Sean off this intro, which requires some work. But yeah, the great Sean Smith is making a return to Prep Baseball South Carolina events.
The Smith brothers are back.
Well, I mean, the crew's back. I don't really know what to say. The positive I got is we've hired a handful more of people this year to make up for the lack of work that we'll get out of the Smith brothers.
They're like true brothers, step brothers. One of them works really
You're like,
hard. The other one's like, leave me alone. It won't get into who's who, but you find out for yourself if you're there to January 20th. I'll let you see for yourself. I don't.
Yeah.
Coach, we know it's going to be cold Saturday, but there's another
cold,
one,
but
right?
you know
We talked about it.
There's another one, right? And kind of we put it on there. The following week we're down in beautiful Shipyard, our home away from home here in prep baseball, South Carolina. We, in essence, the exact same event, just moving on down south, right? We've talked about it before. We're always trying to split the state and try to make it as easy for everybody, across the state and less travel. Now, we do have the option for guys to switch at this point in time. We've had some guys that have made some moves down to that following week. And that's all right. But the one thing we know down there, the extended forecast in the 70s, turf field. So if you get a few showers, it ain't no big deal. But the roster is as talented as it is in the north. It's the exact same. So we're fired up to get down there and see all those players. We're not going to jump ahead and name too much because we're going to talk about the exact same thing the next week of the new event. But we're fired up to see those guys down there, and Shipyard's always great to us. And, we love being down there, and that turf field you can't beat, and just that atmosphere, that water. The only problem is, I always say this with the Shipyard when I'm down there, whether we're down there for our events, covering tournaments, or now I'm down there watching my son's team play tournaments, I always want to go get on that water. As much as I love baseball and want to be on the baseball field, that water, especially on them nice warm days, and you see them boats going back and forth, Coach, it's tough.
But I don't know that in January I'm thinking about the water.
Coach,
you might be. I'd rather have the concession stands open.
By the way, I again, I'm getting a little ahead. You brought that up. I brought up the concession stand report, part of the Palmetto Dugout Show in the future once we get to this beautiful high school game coverage. And Coach Smith, again, I won't tell which one it is, who came up with the idea for the concession report. He made it sound like he's not going to be partaking in eating concession food this year.
Is he going towards diet?
I think he's looking towards some health. I don't know if I want to say diet. I think he's trying to look at a healthier 2024 than a 23. And for you guys that know him, it's not like he's a bad looking out of shape dude or anything. I mean, like it's not like you go, man, you might want to lay off that hot dog.
He's not going to be able to resist that chocolate chip pizza though, if he ever goes to Hannah.
At some point in time, you just gotta ignore it, And I saw a great tweet post the other day and said, if you eat healthier, you will just die healthier.
I know a couple people that live by that. But
one might be on the show.
Oh, I don't eat healthy.
I know, that's right.
Hey, you can go knock off those cars playing the piano, Coach. Right behind you.
Got to get a little Beethoven going on a little bit later. I don't know anybody else. That's why I keep saying Beethoven.
Beethoven. Obviously, big one on Saturday as we look forward to that. And then I got a feeling next week's episode is going to be a little longer, Coach.
Coach, a little longer. We're gonna start getting in the weeds a little bit about some players. We're gonna have some big time performances. I'm already calling it right now. We're gonna have some big time exit velos. We're gonna have some big time arm strength on the mound. I'm feeling it. Right. It don't matter about the weather. You're good. You're good. Numbers are gonna pop. I have a feeling we're gonna have some pop. And it's easy to always say this one, right? And I'm gonna lump both all into it. And last year's All-State was very talented. The year before that was the exact same one. I'm throwing it out there, our most talented one to this point. On paper, right now, most talented. You go and look through these rosters, and you got – I'm looking at it over here to my left, split screen. I mean, it's loaded, and it's a lot of these guys we've seen. There's some guys we haven't seen but have heard of, and we're fired up to watch them put up some big time numbers. And we know it's gonna be a little cold, but it don't matter, right? I mean, when you're good, you're good.
You're good.
It don't matter.
A hitter hits.
And we got some goods. We got some hitters hit.
Hey, it's gonna be fantastic. And next
Jimmy
week
John's for lunch.
Yeah, someone had already asked me what was lunch being provided, and I said it was possibly 99% going to be Jimmy John's, and they were very excited.
Coach, Jim, you really can't go wrong with the good old Jimmy John's. They got a quality sandwich. They got good bread.
That's what you can hold.
Coach, you got to know when you're at the field all day what your boiler likes and does not like.
I will tell you, Clemson's bathrooms are a tad bit nicer than the last PSA North.
A little shaky, but I'm going to secretly great cookie, right? When you think of Jimmy John's, you don't go.
I don't ever get a
cookie over there. Well, you're getting a cookie this weekend.
Diet Coke.
100% Diet Cola.
It's the only way to go.
I mean, that's only one way to go. I mean, sponsor.
Lever's
right?
going to get something. Lever's going to get his doused in mustard again.
God, that was terrible. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him when he. I mean, he ate it like a champ and was proud of it. I mean, I don't think I'd eat it, but I guess when you're hungry, you just go for it.
I think we had went 12 hours and 3 rain delays and then 8.
That's the one thing we know we will not be dealing with this weekend: rain delays.
Yeah, let's hope not. If it's
if the rain comes out, it'll be snow delay. It's snow and sleet delay.
We've had that before too. Not a delay, but that was when we went to Charleston, Coach.
Yeah, God almighty. We leaving ice storms all over the state, coming down there. Ice was on the road. I remember pulling in my hotel that night, and I'm like, I'm gonna beat the ice. It's not gonna be bad that night. I got there, my car was covered in ice. I goes, probably a bad idea. Driving down 26 in the ice storm.
Hey, well, we made it. Obviously,
we made it. We made it.
So hey, we'll wrap this up. That's gonna do us for episode 71. From all of us here at Prep Baseball South Carolina. Have a great week.